I did. I still it's more stuff. That's about 25
Well, that's why we all
Like a city block.
Welcome to New Day. We're going to sing a Christmas carol to get started. This is the season.
Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth be singing every heart prepared in and heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing, and joy to the world, the Savior, and men their songs and gold, while fields and floods, while hills and plain, repeat the sounding joy, repeat the sounding joy, repeat the sounding joy.
No more that sin.
No more that sin and sorrows grow, nor thorns infest the ground. He comes to make his blessings known, for as the curse is found, for as the curse is found, for as the curse is found. He rules the world with truth and grace, and makes the nations rule. The glories of his righteousness, and wonders of his love, wonders of his love, and wonders of his love, and wonders of his love, and wonders of his love. Welcome, everybody. Merry Christmas. For a lively lunch. Hey, let's take just a second, and if you came in and sat down near someone that you didn't have a chance to say hi to, would you go ahead and just take a minute and do that? Make sure you know each other's names in case you don't. And we'll be right back. We're going to sing another song here in just a second, so let's do that just for a minute.
I think I'll just stay right here and have a cheer for my
This is Jerry. He was back.
I love what that song talks about, just God's love always being enough for anything that we're facing. So we thank you so much, God, and we just proclaim total victory over everything because you are there. So thank you, Lord, for loving us and always having a way through for us. And no matter what is in our hearts, whether it's things that we're working through with anger or sadness or grief or despair or frustration or confusion, whatever it is, Lord, I just see you creating a way through it in a way that would cause us to be freer than we are right now. So we just proclaim that over our hearts and over our lives, over our minds right now. We thank you so much for who you are and what you've done to make that possible. And we love you and we love one another. Thank you for our time here together. In Jesus' name, amen.
Well, we're going to do a quick switch, and I'm going to take this guitar off, and we'll come back and we'll have a little conversation. So while we do that, if you need to get up or do something real quick or say something, feel free to do that. We'll be right back. Or not, you know, you can just sit there quiet.
Oh, they're still saying I can't.
Hey everybody, I just saw Nate come in, so I thought, you know, a little while back, Nate let us know he was getting ready for an internship with Crew, which is the new title campus crusade for Christ at OSU, so I thought.
Hey guys, a little spontaneous, so I'm gonna try and yeah, that's how we do it here. So for those of you who don't know, I go to OSU and I'm a part-time field staff intern with Crew, which he mentioned used to be called Campus Crusade back in the day. Basically what I do is I have two guys that I mentor. So each week I take them through either like a Bible study or some sort of article that I've read this past week that has to do with something that they've been going through. And we do some discipling stuff, which is really cool to see progress in that. One example, for those of you who get my blog updates and some of my newsletters, you'll know who this guy is. His name is Devontae. He is a sophomore in Air Force ROTC, so I know him pretty well through the AFROTC program. But he's had some trouble with school and stuff like that, and he's had some, a little bit of lack of faith, which has been decent over the last month. But it's been really, really neat to kind of see the progression with this guy. He hasn't been too into the scripture, so I've been taking him through the Gospels a little bit just to kind of introduce him to, okay, who's Jesus? Who's this guy? Because he's like a brand new believer, which is actually really cool. Really cool, just because he's got like no idea who this guy is. So I've taken him through Matthew a couple times, and he's asking all these questions like, okay, who are the Pharisees? Like, who is this Jesus guy? Like, what's the Trinity? Let's talk about that. So it's giving me a really cool opportunity for me to just answer some basic questions. So it's been really neat being on the staff team alone. I get a lot of cool exposure. a lot more responsibility just to be able to be the student and the staff person at the same time. And to be that student voice on the staff team has been really, really cool. Just so they get that student perspective of making this decision. So that's just kind of a little snippet of what I do, and I'm going to continue to do it this year and most likely next year also. So it's been really, really great. Yeah, we do a lot. We have a big conference coming up from the 28th of December through the 1st of January called Crew Conference, and that's basically the whole western half of the U.S. All the crews kind of get together in one central spot, which will be in Portland this year, which is really cool. It's a big conference, like 8 or 9 different crews get together, and we have huge worship sessions. We have different kind of segmented areas where you have different speakers come and they talk on separate topics. And we have a really cool New Year's Eve party and stuff like that. So it's really cool just to meet new people. That was one of the places where the group kind of hit me the most, just because I got to meet a guy to Christ that night on the last night, which was really cool. So that kind of got me interested on a little bit more of an intimate level. But over the year, we just do a lot of fun stuff. We do a lot of like men's retreats and women's retreats and stuff like that. So we try and involve them like that also. So yeah.
Yeah. So if anybody wants to connect with Nate today and just to stay more connected, he has a regular newsletter that goes out, and I get that too. So thanks, man. Good to see you. We hang out for a couple weeks. Hey, so while Nate was talking, I was secretly downloading the new version of the viewer of the presentation that I spent all Apparently they outdated the old version. The old one, so I just went to open it and it didn't open. Because I made it on a laptop that I opened. So it's almost there. While we do that, I might as well just do a couple announcements. Yesterday, we had a men's event. We played Ultimate Frisbee, and that was pretty amazing actually. Like, we were able to be out there for a total of close to 2 hours. Now, granted, that wasn't all planned. There was some donut eating and some other fun stuff happened, but we had a great time. We ended up going over to turf field, and there were nine of us out there, so we actually had enough to make 2 teams and 1 day off for the day. So we'll be seeing an update of how that went pretty soon. There's a women's event coming up. We do these every month, a men's event, and a women's event. The women's event is this Saturday, the 18th.
Sunday.
Oh, it says Sunday even. Look at that. Oh, that's right. Okay, so Sunday is the 18th. But since we don't have church in the morning, all the ladies are invited to that one. Or whatever you choose. 8:30 a.m. to Starbucks at Delta Highway. So that's the one, 8:30 a.m. That's the one over by Cafe I was thinking Guitar Center. I don't know. What else is over there? There's a Home Depot. Yeah, I don't know. Hey. Okay, and then before you go, if you do have something to give, we have a white offering box over here on our kind of entry table. And then for holiday schedule, we're going to be together Christmas Eve. So Christmas is on a Sunday this year, and I'm sorry, but I'm not going to try to do a Sunday Christmas service. I just feel like everybody's probably going to be with family, and so instead we're going to do a Christmas Eve service the day before. So that's Saturday the 24th, 4 p.m. regular time. And then the next week is New Year's service, and we'll have a regular Sunday service on New Year's at 4 o'clock. So also the Christmas Eve, it's our 4th Sunday, so it's a community day where we do kind of special things with kids and stuff. But we're not going to do potluck. I don't have everything to worry about making food. So, any questions about any of those things? Well, I stall.
We have a question.
Okay, I guess I get to try it again. Oh, maybe I should write our email address correctly. Here's a question. Does anybody remember what we talked about last week? You don't want to ask that question. I'm joking. Please don't. No, I was talking to you. I have notes here. Oh man. Okay, we're opening here. Yes, why me? Somebody remember Kim. Why me? Let's continue that. Let's continue that topic, shall we? I'm like ready to go. I can't believe I got this done. It's downloaded, logged in. Why me? Little Charlie Brown and all of us. I think Charlie Brown is the poster child for asking why me. That's blinking probably until I click it. It's going to tell me how to use the app now that it's the first time I'm using this. Okay. So last week I introduced this topic. It's kind of an odd Christmas topic, why me? But I will explain a little bit more in a minute about why I want to go this way. Stop. If that doesn't drive you nuts, it's going to drive me nuts. I don't know how to turn that off. No, it's terrible.
You have to go through the presentation
Okay.
first.
Oh my goodness. All right, here's what I'm going to do. I have some questions for you to talk about at your tables. I'm going to get you talking, figure out what the heck is going on, and then we'll come back and I'll have my acts together. Okay. Little talk at your tables. So you're sitting with some people, hopefully you might have a little conversation. If you're not sitting with somebody, you're invited to go and join a table. You can join a table. Switch. Oh my gosh. All right. Here's your come on. Here's your question. Or I'm looking for the funniest story that each of your tables can come up with. So here's the story. Think of a time that you were expecting something to be one way, an ideal, and instead it turned out to be something totally different, disappointing or unexpected or whatever. So I want you to start scanning your history, your catalog of memories, and we're looking for the funniest story. And I'm going to turn this thing off, and we'll be right back. So go ahead and talk at tables for a little bit, join a table, and we'll ask the tables if anybody wants to share in just a minute.
You can also play we're supposed to hire members.
I'll give you a hint. It often helps think of children. Children have this happen to them all the time. All the time. I have a child in school.
Christmas present. What they do? See, I like you see the building at the album. We had to figure out anything like see look at the city bigger. It's a screaming and laughing And people still just take out the we all make our best and so It was well played on their part. Just got that in like, I got it was one of those ones where I was thankful I was
Raise your hand if your table has a good one that we can share. Okay, we're gonna get started with some of these. I want to hear some of the good ones.
All right, so growing up, my mom had this favorite coffee mug, and she liked sweet coffee. So there was always like, it was kind of that yummy type hot chocolate coffee. And so we get in the car one day, and there's the mug right there. And so I'm looking around, and I hadn't seen the mug in a while. And in this time where I hadn't seen it, I was like, I think I like coffee. It's not a 12-year-old thinking I'm gonna take a big swig of this coffee. So I just took a big swig. Turns out the coffee mug had been sitting in church for about 6 weeks, half full. And so what I took a swig of was a nasty moldy coffee. And that was very disappointing.
Anybody from here?
We went to Big Center's middle school camp, and the girls take over half of the camp, and the boys take over the other half. So that means that the girls are using both bathrooms, both boys and girls bathrooms, you know, from last time camp for safety. So anyways, there wasn't enough time for the girls to get all the showers in and everything that you wanted, and so, but we found this trough in the boys' bathroom, and so we decided to wash our hair because the water worked. And so we found out later that that's actually a urinal. We just didn't know at the time.
So Jill reminded us of one of our very loving daughters. It was a hot day, and she wanted to make sure we were all very well equipped with cold water. And she brought out the glasses of cold water. And when Jill realized, she saw the water running down the glass and realized she wasn't tall enough to get to the sink. And yes, it came from the toilet.
Did you guys have a story to tell? No, back table, you guys.
One time I thought I found a cup of root beer in the fridge, but it was teriyaki meat marinade that
Did you take a swig?
Yeah, I thought it was teriyaki that had
Wow. I got a worse reaction than the toilet water. Any stories here at this table? Well, that's a nice little segue to talking about what I want to talk about today. Some good YB moments. I want to talk about the ideals that we create in our minds versus the reality that we sometimes experience. So let's talk about some fun gifts that somebody thought was a good idea. You actually have these underpants for your hands? Unbelievable. Somebody thought that was a good idea. What do you use them for? Okay. I think sort of a classic thought would be a great gift. Ralphie. You guys remember this one? With the bunny costume for Christmas? And then somebody thought this would be a great idea. I love that one. Somebody thought in their mind, like, I know, like, this will be great. It'll be meaningful, warm, and then you put it on, it looks like Alien, you know? Yeah. So obviously our ideas are not always what we expect in and out. But those are a little extreme. Let's kind of bring it home and think about Christmas. I think I'm definitely in the camp when I think about Christmas, I have lots of ideas about what Christmas will be like. So maybe you're like me. Maybe you're one of those people who thinks this year I'm going to make my own eggnog. Like I'm going to go over the top. I've had homemade eggnog before. It was incredible. Or maybe you're more of a Martha Stewart type and you're thinking I'm going to make it will be epic. It will be ideal. I will be the master of Christmas, whatever. Or has anyone ever actually gone on a sleigh ride? I'm curious. Like, are you picturing this when you're thinking of Christmas? Take a family to a sleigh ride? Like, I can picture people imagining, like, this is going to be great, and then it really not being great. Well, who's actually gone to Carolyn, by the way? I've gone to Carolyn. The idea is always better than the actual experience, is it not? I mean, it's a good thing to do, and I enjoy it. We've done it here, actually. But it's not quite what you picture when you picture this, right? Okay, so let's talk about ideals here. Let's talk about our idealized nativity scene, okay? So obviously Mary, Halo baby, Jesus, and wonderful, well-behaved animals looking on in admiration. This is a very idealized scenario that people thought of centuries later, right? And we do this, and we'll come back to this. But there were several stories in the Bible, as I was reading just through the nativity stories again, that thought, maybe the ideal that was expected or hoped for didn't actually happen. And in that moment, there's kind of a why me moment. Thinking about Zechariah, maybe that he imagined someday he would get to see an angel. He probably didn't imagine that after that he wouldn't talk for 9 months. Like unexpected, not the way I thought this was going to go. Or maybe for my first child, like not ideal. Joseph and Mary getting married. Mary probably as well, wasn't expecting that suddenly they were going to find out that they were going to have a baby. Unknown how, and Joseph had decided, well, I'll just divorce her quietly and just do the appropriate thing. Probably not the ideal that they had in mind. Agreed? And lastly, I was thinking about even later as Jesus is just a little bit older, and Herod is full of vengeance, trying to search for them. So you get a dream, and sorry, I know you got a 2-year-old, but it's time to move to Egypt for a while until this guy dies and someone else is in power, and then you can come back. Not the ideal scenario. We all certainly have these ideal scenarios, but what's interesting to me about these is we see God very, very involved in these people's process, and yet they're still going through these terrible or disappointing things. And obviously we have a scale in life from drinking teriyaki marinade to other things that happen to us. So, question today, really, I just want to talk about for a little bit is why. Why does the path forward, especially with God, and you look at the stories of people who've been walking with God, why does it always take you through unwanted struggle and disappointment? Why doesn't it just avoid that? I don't know if there's such a thing as too easy for me. So I want to talk about the ideal versus the real. Ideal versus what's really going to happen. That's I think what often lands us in the place of why me. So here's my sort of just experience here. Me and Melissa, we get along very, very well, but we process the future very differently. She's very realistic. I have lots of ideals. And I have assumptions about how things are going to go, and I tend to glance over the unsightly details and look at the things that I want to look at. So for instance, like, hey, let's start a business. Like, doesn't that sound fun? And in my mind, I'm thinking of all the great things, all of my assumptions that I'm making. And in her mind, she's got a checklist of why this is going to be very good. And it's a great balance, and we have great conversations, as you can imagine. Or, hey, let's do a fixer-upper house. And so now we're on number 2. And our marriage is still going strong. So obviously different ones of us process this different ways, but we do have ideals. We all have expectations, hopes for the way things will go. So how do we get through the difficult times? Well, let me first paint a picture of what I think is most common. What is most common is that when things get difficult, when we're on our way to whatever hope or plan that we have, and suddenly something doesn't work out, or hit a hiccup or a bump on the road or a concrete wall, we often find other things to anticipate. So if work is going to be great this week, and then you get to work and Tuesday is terrible, well, at least I have the weekend. You know, we find other things to idealize. And unfortunately, those other things, whatever they are never quite as satisfactory as we hope they will be, right? The weekend will end. And when the weekend ends, we have to go back to reality. And sometimes we get in these cycles where we're just kind of wanting to go back and forth between, I just got to get through reality until I get to my ideal, you know? And I can say when I was first getting out of college and learning how to just like do a regular work week, I was like aching for the weekend. Like, I couldn't wait. I was just getting through the week to get to the weekend. So the thing about things like weekends, or other things we use to give us those temporary sort of like moments, is that they do give us a sense of relief, but of course it's temporary. So we end up developing oftentimes sort of a dependency on things. And we all have them, little things or big things. That's why people develop into addictions or whatever, because we learn in small ways that these little things give us some sense of relief. And we find ourselves, with no alternative, we find ourselves going back to them and back to them and back to them. And we develop these cycles, which with some other guys, we coined the term a toilet cycle. Because that's basically what it is. It's a toilet cycle. It's not fun, it just kind of spirals downward, and you're not heading in any good direction. So, I actually believe that a lot of people, a lot of us, spend a lot of our energy and time exhausting ourselves, chasing after ideals. And that ideal, whatever it is, never quite satisfies what we're actually wanting. And chasing after, we're actually missing out on something else that is right here, right now, and much better. So what I want to talk about today is the alternative. So let's talk about what is real versus our ideals. Last week I introduced a gift, so we have another gift today. And the gift today is joy. To just give a little definition to what I'm talking about when I talk about joy. Joy is God's help, or His gift, or provision, or whatever word you want to put in there. It's His thing for us when reality seems like it's trying to steal away our happiness and our passion for living and our desire to go forward. When we feel like we've lost our momentum or we're not able to pursue our dreams anymore, God gives us joy. And that might seem a little like just incongruent for a moment, but let me kind of explain why I think that. What would God's perspective be from all of us, like from up above, if you want to think of it that way, or just from outside, looking at all of us in our ups and downs? What would His perspective be like to stand back and to watch all of us from His perspective, which is not only a big perspective, but it's also eternal, right? He sees the end from the beginning. So what would His perspective be of us, watching us go through our life, with all the ups and downs and everything that they entail? What's that? Won't they ever learn? Sure, maybe. I can imagine that. I talked last week about what I think is one of the best analogies we can think of between us and God, and it's God is up here, which is what Jesus said. Think of God like a heavenly, earthly Father. Okay. So, as parents, what do parents do when they look at their children's ups and downs? What do parents do with children? You can think back about your own childhood. How did your parents help you through as a child with ups and downs? Or how do you help your children? What do parents do? Any thoughts? Okay. Absolutely.
I was in like a football game or something, you know, maybe something great.
Absolutely.
It's just smash.
They experience what you pointed out is really true on an emotional level, not from I understand. but it's I'm experiencing this with you. I'm here with you, and there's a meeting on an emotional level that parents do with children to say you kind of like you're not alone. I'm here with you. Somebody else, please. Yeah, right.
Yeah, we experience their emotions and feel them.
Yeah.
Sometimes validate them, and sometimes we didn't want to help the parents. We were able.
Yeah, so Scott.
Pray that the learning occurred.
Pray that the learning occurred. So I hope that there is something to gain from this experience. Yeah, Amanda?
And you're helping them do something hard. It's kind of perspective where you're not worried.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. Yeah.
then you kind of perspective. Or like,
Yeah.
that sounds hard, but that's kind of
Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, it's true. Oh, yours was already said. So I think all of those things are absolutely true. And it's easy for us to think about children because the ups and downs children go through seem like not as big of a deal to us. Is it possible? And yet, like Kathy said, we still cry when they cry. Even though we know the world's not ending, it's not a big deal, we still feel it. So is it possible that God, in the same way, still grieves and cries and feels with us, but doesn't lose hope, doesn't lose his joy? I think that's totally possible. Because it's so big in so many ways. So somebody mentioned sports earlier. So I think about sports. All the lessons we learn, all the things that we go through, like in our ups and downs. I remember getting cut from a basketball team freshman year. That was brutal. I had played basketball my entire upbringing. And in me now, I still want to make disclaimers for why it happened. You know what I mean? Like, really. So we go through these things, and we do learn from them, right? And we do get a special bond with people who go through those things with us. What are some other things? Lost my spot. Okay, what about school? We go ups and downs in school, right? You have an anticipation of a great school year, then you get the worst teacher, and it's just a terrible year. And we have to ride that out somehow. What about jobs? You're excited about a job, and you get to the job, and you find out your boss is a horrible person. You know what I mean? Like, you find out, this is not where I want to be. How am I going to weather this? Or even relationships. You're excited about a relationship, and then outside of your control, it takes a turn for the worse. Ups and downs. We go through these things, and they do feel to us often like the world is ending. And I really want to make sure I don't diminish that feeling, because that feeling is important. We can't deny the fact that we feel that way. But we also can't deny the fact that there is a bigger perspective. There is always, as long as there's a God, there's a bigger perspective. So, what do parents do? I think God does the same thing. Meet us with compassion. Meet us with a heart full of love and a desire to be with us in that moment, right? And then begin to talk and show us that not all is lost, life is not over, there will be more. There's a reason to go on. And, in doing that, what are parents doing? They're preparing their children to be ready for the big stuff, right? Well, don't you think the Bible alludes to that when this earthly life is done, that we're not done? That there's big stuff to come? Absolutely. It's not just like, well, we did everything, now we're just going to sit around and do nothing for eternity. There's big stuff to come, I believe. So, using that same analogy, thinking of God as a parent. Now I have to ask myself, am I surprised when I feel like I'm doing God's will, or however you think of that? You're doing the God thing or the right thing, and it doesn't go well. And we still struggle with that. I still struggle with that. And we're surprised. And we start to ask, of course we ask questions. Well, I don't think we can avoid feeling disappointed, like I said, and I don't think we should. But we do need to be aware of a couple other things. One is that there is always a bigger perspective. But the one I want to talk about that really pertains to joy is how incredibly important and powerful our emotional life is. what is going on in us as we go through our day-to-day journeys, the ups and downs. That's not our brains turning on and off. That's our hearts engaging and disengaging, being encouraged and being disencouraged. That is an emotional issue, and God really, really cares about that in the same way that we care when our children go through those things. So, what gets in the way? Let's find a little thought. Does God, when we think about joy, do we think about God being with us? When we think about, like a parent wants to be with a child, and I just kind of want to let that image sit for a minute. Because when things don't go our way, oftentimes the last thing we think is God is with us. We tend to think God is not with us, or we've done something wrong, or whatever. I basically want to just tear that page out of whatever book got written in your heart or mind and say that's not part of the story, and it's not part of God's story. So what gets in the way of joy? Well, as I've said, the ideal gets in the way of joy. Our ideal picture, particularly of what will make us happy, of what we desire and what means things are going well for us. So we are, of course, constantly presented with the idea that if I just had this or got there or whatever, that I would be a happier person. That's normal. Everybody feels that. And it's amazing when you think about how specific those little ideals are. Can you picture one in your mind, the ideal you have of, if I just have that, if I could just get there? It's very specific. And that specificity is what makes it really, really powerful, because it seems attainable, doesn't it? It seems like that's something I can do. And since that's something I can do, if I had that, I would feel awesome. And of course, those things can be attainable, but do they deliver? That's the question. Do they deliver what our expectations are wanting? They don't. They give something, they give a part of it, but they don't give it all. And of course, that's why marketers know how to release the next best thing every month. So I think of thinking about happy, and not that happiness is a bad thing. But when I talk about happy in the way of happy because I have this thing that this ideal that I feel like I need or that I'm expecting, it's like a hook. And I believe they are hooks. It's bait to get you to get into this toilet cycle. That's what I believe. And maybe your thing is like a new phone. Like, I love when I get a new phone every 2 years. I actually have anticipation toward that. And I think I've actually developed an expectation to where if it goes away, I'm going to be really disappointed. But that's not a bad thing. It's just something I have to be aware of. Why is that important? Why are we talking about stuff? This is the perfect example, I think, of how strong our need to be emotionally satisfied is. What's going on? Things are happening in kids' class. Escape. So can we just all acknowledge for a second, we all have an emotional life and it's trying to be taken care of. That's the point I'm trying to make. So why is joy so much better? And what are we going to have to do with this whole happiness hook thing? The happiness hook, I think, is the thing that we actually have to figure out how to let go of in order to exchange it for you. Because I don't think you can do both. I think we can have dreams, we can have hopes, but as soon as we latch on to, I need this specific thing in order to be happy, we have lost that little battle and we've taken the hook, in a sense. And the exchange is so much better. So let's talk about why it's better briefly. So let's talk about joy. First of all, the great thing about joy is you don't actually need to have your way to be happy. Joy doesn't rely on you getting what you want or you getting what I want. Joy is ever so much deeper. And I'll talk about why in just a second. Secondly, what about joy? It's a spiritual gift. All that means is it is free and it's from God. You can't get it anywhere else. You don't get that joy from anything else. You get it, it comes from God. Now, God gives it to us in various ways, of course, but it's only from Him. And it's free. And what I like about that is that means everybody on the face of the earth can afford it. everybody. So there's no reason why anybody can't have it. Thirdly, joy will actually enable you to enjoy your life regardless of what you're going through. Because what joy is it's actually a deep sense of goodness. It's a deep sense that my life is good. And without that, life is way too hard. And who would blame us for going after things to make us feel good? I mean, gosh, life is hard. And then the last thing is the only thing that joy relies on, this is why I think it's so much better than happiness, it doesn't depend on getting what I want or any of those things. The only thing it relies on is God's willingness to give it, which is always, and my willingness to receive it, which hopefully is getting more and more. Those are the only two things it relies on. It doesn't need anything else. And those things will always be available. Okay, back to Mary and Joseph. So, Mary and Joseph, picture them searching for a room to have the baby. Like, picture the real, not the ideal, for a second. And I'm sure we've all kind of gone through this before, thinking about what must have really been like. Okay, now picture them settling for a stable, right? A barn with animals in it. Like, have my baby here. Not exactly the ideal. Not like our little nature scenes. And I was wondering, is it possible that Joseph was actually thinking, why me? In this moment. Is it possible, of course, that Mary was wondering the same thing? Just to contrast our picture of ideal with what reality may have been like. Why me? Maybe there were other questions being asked at the same time. Is it possible? Maybe they weren't happy about their circumstance, but do you think that there was joy present? If you have been present for the birth of a baby, you're aware of the joy that is present. What? Yeah. Yeah. Do I need to hand the mic over now? Am I qualified to talk about? So there is joy there, despite the situation, right? There is something more pervasive about joy than happiness. It's so pervasive that even things like having a baby in a stinking barn can't squelch that kind of joy. Okay? Yeah. So we need to believe somehow in God's ability to bring joy to our lives. That He can do it. That He's big enough to do it. Not just that He's big enough to save us from the fires of hell, but that He's able to give us joy today. Right? Like, we have to be able to somehow believe that. And that joy is available at any moment and can surprise us at any time. I think we have to believe that. I'm, of course, not talking about trying to be thankful or pretending you're happy when you're not. That's not what I'm talking about at all. It's actually the opposite. It's about being way more honest when we're not happy. Way more honest when we're disappointed and upset. And about bringing that to our relationship with God and allowing our disappointment into the conversation and then inviting Him to be Him. And being open to however He wants to be with us in that moment, whether it's opening our eyes to a larger perspective or simply comforting or encouraging us. I do think that God can give us, like somebody said, perspective, a glimpse of the eternal. I don't think we can comprehend eternity, but I think we can get glimpses. And I also think that He will take us out of that moment into a bigger picture. Not so that we can ignore the moment, but so that we can go back into our moments and they can be richer and deeper and more important. It's like seeing the big picture allows us to experience the beauty and the richness in life for what it is, rather than get focused on the things that are not making us happy. That is really, really a big challenge. So, in being willing to surrender this ideal happiness that we all have, these ideals, I think that we can receive joy, and we can actually, of course, become a greater gift to the people around us. Because who doesn't love to be around a person who's pervasively joyful? Everybody is made better by being around joyful people. And I know, like, in my life, I'm learning more and more how important this is for me. And I'm guessing that this is going to speak more loudly to some of us than to others. But I need this. I don't do well without it. And last week thinking about surrendering our need for answers in exchange for trust, that God will take care of us. This week, same concept, surrendering not in the sense of giving up, but surrendering in the sense of letting go in exchange for something that is better. And what we're letting go of is whatever we think will make us happy. And we can let go of that, and we'll make room for this gift of joy that we can't have without letting go. And I have to say, of course, that our road forward with God offers no promise of giving us, delivering our ideals. There are other promises, though. And these promises are in God's reality. This is reality, not an ideal. This is reality. Here's reality. The reality is the road will contain pain and struggle, right? That is reality. And those are things we don't want. Agreed? I think nobody is under the illusion that we want those things. So it also contains something that will actually carry us through everything. So reality contains joy. Ideals don't contain joy, but reality contains joy. There is joy in God's reality. And that joy is what the Bible calls the joy of the Lord. And it really actually is our strength. Okay? So we have one more song I'd like to sing, and it's the song "Good Good Father." So if the musicians would come up, and while we sing this, and as you're thinking, I would like to invite you to take a little personal time now and invite God into your life. Let's all invite God into our lives, shall we? Invite God into your life right now. How about that? Like today. And see if there is something there that you can say, that's definitely an ideal that I'm aware of, that I'm chasing, maybe even exhausting myself. I want it, and there are times when we can even say, I rightly deserve it, and I won't deny that. Because I think when God created us originally, He created us for the ideal world. Paradise. That's what we were created for. So when we experience disappointment, it's not because we're broken, it's because the world's broken. So how do we bring those things to Him and say, it hurts, I'm disappointed, and maybe live there for a while? How do we bring those to Him and somehow allow Him, in His miraculous way, to bring a sense of goodness to our lives? That is really what I care about. So let's sing this song.
To you are
Thank you for the gift of joy. Thank you that it's available to any and all, in any moment, in any time. Thank you that we don't have to deny where we are, and we don't have to deny what we feel. On the other hand, that we get to be free to be who we are, free to experience everything of what it means to be human, but to invite you into the middle of it. And would you help us to do that more and more? Think about this Christmas season, just for what we hope it would be versus what the realities may be. God, would you take us off of the little things that we think will give us what we need? And would you open us up to a bigger perspective that joy is available at any moment, through the smallest little thing you can awaken our hearts to your joy. And we invite it to come and be a part, a regular part, a daily part of our lives. And thank you that it is our strength, that we can have strength to go forward because you bring us joy and because it's a free gift. We just choose to give it to us. Help us to receive it, and thank you that you will always give it. We love you. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, you all are dismissed. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. See you next week. Best friends.
You said it was cold. Oh, China was cold.
I'm so good at Canada. Yeah, good. You like me? It's hard.
We can't have it, I don't know. I'm still young here. Looked on early.
8 hours.
Yeah, well, 38 to 10. Yeah, most definitely. Wow, that's a 5 interceptions. You like the goal, huh?
Well, we are right here.
What's that? Yeah?
Hey,
Muscle sore or? Because it was sprinting and like side to side movement? Yeah.
back when we were yeah. No, you were there, Cascade. Yeah, because they're close. We started
That's
at
good. Yeah, I like it. Oh, you're coming up, huh? You're coming up, huh? Yeah, I'm a little sore as well. My hips are sore. I think that's just from some of the stuff.
Can you smell it?
It is much.
Just going weed. Oh, I smell that. Oh wait, all of me here.
That's fair. Well, that was just one part.
Probably the beats.
Where are you? That's some good stuff, man. I actually think you ran more like because you were always following the frisbee when you do it. Yeah, when the people that weren't moving were like standing, you're waiting for the frisbee to come around or whatever, you're kind of hanging out. The person that's filming is always trying to be with the frisbee.
I wouldn't be able to run the frisbee and keep it steady if I was
You do better than that. Well, so there's the cool thing about those GoPros. They've got a pretty impressive aspect to them where even when you're running, well, this is this one just came out 2 weeks ago. Okay, this is that. It's pretty, I was pretty impressed with how well you see it when we put together a little video. I got a lot of good footage. I mean, obviously it's shaky. It's not like a smooth video, but I was impressed. I got up way too early yesterday.
She's gonna be. This is. Right here. I went to bed early last night. I still scary. Yeah, it doesn't make me feel any better. Even if it's like because too much sleep is just as bad as that. I don't want that. Grab my chair.
So how much did I get from you?
Only 3 clips.
Are they short?
Yeah. So I need this in this.
Okay, I got an email from you. It says videos.
Well,
Did you try?
I tried. I don't know what that's like.
Maybe it compressed it.
Yeah. I was thinking tomorrow when we're at lunch.
Oh yeah.